Hi, if you're interested in growing your own food, then popcorn is the king of all the grains. So why is this? Basically, popcorn is one of the easiest plants to grow and it has very little pests. It's also easy to harvest and it's easy to prepare for eating. So first of all, corn is planted in a square. If you're used to seeing people running small gardens, you'll see all their crops are in rows. You don't grow corn in a row, you grow it in squares. The reason you do that, because if you grow it in a row, you'll get inconsistent pollination. You see, that's not very good. You compare it to something like this, that is good. We grow all our plants in squares anyway, but just so you know, not to grow them in one long row.
Yeah, corn really needs to be grown in the square, otherwise it doesn't work as well.
It's also happy to be grown in poor soil. Although it likes lots of water, it's quite happy if it doesn't get much either. So quite an easy plant to grow. Also, it doesn't have very many pests. Because it's the cob is covered in a papery husk, the birds don't really know they can eat it, and the rats really don't know they can eat it. We have had king parrots who've worked out how to strip the husks off.
Yeah, they have.
And we had one rat that figured out how to strip the husks off, and yeah.
Otherwise, there's just the occasional caterpillar that manages to burrow in.
Yes, this is what happens when you get a caterpillar burrow in. He burrowed through the husk and in there, and you can see he's had a few little bites and ruined some of the corn. There's another one got in down the bottom here, and generally they'll get in around the top. The way I do fix these up is I just get a knife and just basically scrape out all the diseased ones.
You certainly don't want to waste the whole cob just because the caterpillar's had a bit of a gnaw.
Yeah, so make sure you get the surrounding ones too, because otherwise they're mouldy and you don't want to
introduce mould into your diet? Definitely not.
Or into your storage. Whoops, there goes one on the floor. So you can see I've done that and it's all good now. That's a fine cob. So not much pests, so you don't have to worry too much about anything. So basically all good. Now the thing with popcorn is it won't pop unless it's dried properly. So basically you can let it dry on the plant, or if it looks like rain, you can pick it all off, take the husks off and dry it in the sun or in a food dehydrator or something like that. So how do you tell if it's dry enough? Basically it's dry enough if you can just push the kernels out like that. They should just come out without any problem at all. Sometimes there's problems, but this one's dry enough, it just comes out. So basically getting your popcorn off the husk is a very simple job. Oh, it does fly all over the kitchen.
Yeah, all you have to worry about is them escaping.
If you're a little bit worried about whether your corn is dry enough, another way of telling whether it's dry enough is just to throw a few kernels into a paper bag and put them in the microwave for 3 minutes. And if they're dry enough, they'll pop. If they're not dry enough, they'll burn.
Yeah.
Okay, so very easy to harvest, and then there you are, you've got your popcorn.
And it's great to store too, really easy to store because it stores for a long time.
15 to 20 years.
Yep, that's amazing.
Yeah.
We've got a big jar in our pantry at the moment.
Okay, well the next thing I'll show you is how to winnow it, so we'll just close here and I'll come back.
So this is the first year that we've grown popcorn for quite a few years, and this is a different variety, the first time we've grown the yellow variety. We used to grow the blue mini popping corn, but here's our jar of popcorn that we've got to store in our pantry, and we've still got lots more cobs actually out on the veranda drying. and we'll be processing those, and then we'll have a great source of fibre, protein and carbohydrate that's also delicious to snack on.
Also, I forgot to go through the nutritional stuff of corn. Popcorn contains all the essential amino acids. Unfortunately, two of them, tryptophan and leucine, are both bio-unavailable. So on the internet you'll see some people saying popcorn is a superfood. It's not, because it doesn't contain all the essential amino acids. The way to get around that is to eat it with beans, because they complement each other. What each one's missing, the other one has. Popcorn too is fairly high in protein. Now, one of the things you should realise is that protein is extremely important, because you need protein to fix all the things going wrong in your body. With all the pollutants around, you need to do lots of repair work, so you need lots of protein. Popcorn has 13% protein. That's pretty good. That's up there with wheat. Just to give you an idea, peanuts have 25% protein, chicken has 26% protein, and pumpkin seeds have 35% protein. And if you ever buy hemp seed protein, it's 50% or 60% or 70%. So that gives you an idea of the type of proteins. The other thing you should realise is that grains aren't really good for you. Popcorn is one of the better grains for you because it's gluten-free. If you want to know why you shouldn't eat grains, or a lot of grains, you should go to a paleo website and they'll tell you why you shouldn't eat grains. They don't agree with it at all. The reasons they give are very relevant to glutinous grains such as wheat, and not so relevant to gluten-free grains such as corn. One of the best things I did for my health was to get rid of gluten from my diet, and my health benefits have been enormous. So popcorn's great because it's gluten-free. The other thing about popcorn is that you'll see on the internet it tells you that popcorn has niacin. It certainly does, but it's bio-unavailable. So that if you have a diet of high in popcorn, you will suffer from a disease called pellagra, because you just aren't getting the niacin you need.
But if you have popcorn as a snack,
Yes.
then you'll be just fine.
Yes.
Unless, of course, you do have an allergy to corn. So be careful. Make sure you don't have that. If you don't, then enjoy your popcorn.
Okay, let's go do some winnowing.
Here we are out on the balcony with the cobs of popping corn drying in the sun. So it was pretty pleased with that harvest that we had this year. And now we're going to do some winnowing.
Okay then, if you want to look in the bowl, you'll see all these little fine papery things that come off. When you store your corn, you don't want all that papery junk in there, because if there's any little caterpillars, they will eat that. The corn is usually too hard to eat, and so you want to get rid of it. There's two ways you can do it. The way I probably do it is after each cob I just give it a stir and blow it. Just blow it out, give it a... That's the easiest way. The other way you can do it is, when you're dealing with fine seeds, is just pour it down.
And you saw all those bits blowing away.
Yeah, that's really good for finer seeds. I don't tend to do it with corn, but it's good to do. Yeah, if it's a windy day, you can let the wind do the work.
And you end up with all the little bits all over your shirt as well.
Grubby. If it's not a windy day, you have to provide it by blowing on it. Okay, that's winnowing. This video has a part 2.